feet. So I type in 5 feet, and then at that point I'm there, and I have to go up 2 foot 10, 2 foot 10, boom. Then I go over to the left. Now, since it's a 3 foot wide window, I'm going to go over 1.5 feet or 18 inches, over 18, and then up, and then that distance is 4 foot 2, and then over 3 feet, 3 feet, and then 4 foot 2, 4 foot 2, and then at that point I'm just going to go and bring it right to here. I'm not going to close it because I got that line and I don't want to get that in the way. So now I've got this, okay, I've got these lines, okay, and they all make up this right here. And you might be saying, oh, but they're not a polyline. Well, we can change into a polyline. If I select them all like this, and I type in the letter J, it joins into a polyline. So that's all a polyline. And then, if you take a look at your detail sheet, it tells you that the mullions are actually 2 inches wide. So I'm going to offset that 2 inches. So I type in O for offset, okay, O for offset, and then I change the offset to 2 inches. Then I'm going to go ahead and click on this and offset that inward. Click here and offset it there. So that's that. Let's verify that it's correct. I always check with dimensions, make sure that it's right. Always a good thing to do. And we're going to do that right now. So let's verify that we are where we should be. That is 3 feet. And then over here, this is indeed 4 foot 2. And it is indeed 2 foot 10. And it is indeed, it should be 5 feet if we did it right. And we'll bring this down here, and it is. So we are good to go. So all that is looking pretty good. Okay, so we go ahead and we can move this over a little bit. That's nudge mode right there. Okay, so that's how you place a window. So once the window is placed, we are good to go. Now the windows could then just be done in the same way. This is all basic stuff that you go ahead and do. And I think you guys all have the skills to do that. Now the one thing that you guys are going to want to do now is you are going to want to make sure that your hatching is together. Now your hatching, I've detailed the hatch settings that you need on your details page. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to hatch the roof here first of all. So I'm going to turn off my dimensions and make roof my current layer. So roof is my current layer right here. And then I'm going to turn off my dimensions right here like that. So those are there. Okay, now what I want to do now, I'm going to go ahead and I want to hatch all this section up in here. Okay, make it a roof. So those settings are on the detail page. And if you take a look, the roofing, if we go to hatching, the hatching tool is actually right up here, but you can't really see that. If you click on this right here where my cursor is, it'll bring up the hatching. Other than that, you just type in the word hatch by going down here and typing in hatch, H-A-T-C-H, and they both do the same thing. They bring up a dialog box. Now the pattern we want to use for our hatching right here is if we hit this drop down, there's actually a number of hatch patterns. I don't think you can see these, but the one we want is called ARB88. ARB88. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll through until I see ARB88 and ARB88. AR stands for architectural. And ARB88 looks like this. Okay, it's actually the shingle type pattern right here, ARB88. And then the angle on this is going to be 0, and the scale is 1. So once I've got that, I can go ahead and tell it by putting my cursor inside of here, hey, I want you to do this. And I can go ahead and set the origin too. The origin is going to be the lower left corner. We go ahead and bring this in here. And when I bring this back in here, I can go ahead and set that as my origin. And that is how we go ahead and put that together. So the hatch fills that entire area, and that looks really good. Okay, so we've got that right now. The next thing that we'd have is I'll go ahead and put in the siding hatching. The siding hatching allows us to also put this in here. Oh, and by the way, your hatching is intelligent, so it can go ahead and miss your dimensions. So if you have some dimensions and they actually need to have the hatch go around them, just leave them turned on and it'll hatch around them. Now the next hatching that we're going to work on here, I'm just going to go in here and type in hatch, H-A-T-C-H, yeah, there it is. Okay, I can go to change my pattern, and my pattern for the siding is ANSI 31, and ANSI 31 is this kind of plain Jane pattern right here. So we'll grab ANSI 31. In this one, we need to change the angle to 135. Again, this is on your cheat sheet. 135 there, and your scale is going to be 48 for this one. 48, okay, like that. Okay, now once I've got that and I put my cursor in here, boom, it goes ahead and it hatches it. Okay, so then we're good to go there. So that's how you use hatching. So you got hatching, and then the other items right here are all pretty much revealed. Now, please note that you have two sheets. One is front elevation Southfield, and the other is a detail sheet. The detail sheet, you do not have to include the dimensions that are on the detail sheet on the final product. Those are just there to help you draw these items because I didn't want to clutter the front elevation sheet too much. But that is pretty much what you need. There's not, that's pretty much all that we have there, and that's over right now. We're going to be over a little bit, so that is what we have. So if I go ahead and if I continue on with this right now, which I will do, I'm going to show you guys how to do one more item, and that is the chimney. Not the chimney, but rather the fan light detail. The fan light is actually pretty straightforward. We'll just go to the Windows layer. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to draw a line 3 feet because that's what it shows there. So I'm going to go 3 feet over. So make it 3 feet. And then there's actually involved in that, there's also a radius, a circle with a radius of 1'6". So we'll go ahead and go here and we'll make it 18. And it does that. And then what we can do is just trim it out. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the trim command. I can just go down here and type in trim, T-R-I-M, like that. And I'm going to use the trim command. This is my cutting edge. I right click and I click here and that's gone. So now that I've got that, I can turn this into 1 unit by joining it, okay, like this. And then I can offset that by going down here and typing in the letter O for offset. And offset, I want to offset that a distance of 1 inch because that's how big my mullions are. So offset that 1 inch. Okay. Now once I've done that, I can just draw a line to get my center strip here. I'm going from here to here. Okay. All right. And then I could also, at that point, I want to draw a 45-degree angle. So if I go to my polar tracking down here, I can go to my polar tracking setting right here, which looks like the pizza, and change to 45 degrees. Okay, I've got that right there. Just to show you what that would look like if you go to here and you go to tracking settings. 45 degrees is what you want right here. I think you can see that. Maybe you can. But at that point, you'd set it to 45, and then we draw a line from here, and that's going to lock in at 45, and just drag it right to here. And we did the same thing for this side. We started here, and we drag it to 45 right to there. Now at this point, these mullions are too thin, so we want to offset those. So again, we're going to start the offset command, O for offset. And the offset for this is going to be 1 inch. Actually, it's going to be ½ inch because there is the total width is a ½ inch. So we want to go is 1 inch rather of the mullions. So we're going to make these ½ inch to each side, which gives us a total of 1 inch for the mullions. And we just go ahead and do this. And then once we're done with that, we're just going to use trim to clean it all up. So we go to trim, and we're going to make everything a cutting edge by selecting everything. And we right click, and then we're going to start to get rid of stuff that we do not need. So we'll go through here and here and here, and we're just going to clean all this up. So you might have to erase some stuff when you're all done because it won't get everything, but we'll do our level best, okay? And we'll get rid of that and that and that. That and that and that and that, and get rid of this and this. Okay, and then we'll get rid of these things right here. And last little bit is we're going to trim this down here. So we'll trim this. Okay, this is a cutting edge and this is a cutting edge. I right click and get rid of that. Okay, and that is how you would do the window, and you'd go ahead and trim out the rest of those pieces right there. So go here, trim, there, trim, there, trim. And you might need to clean up the edges a little bit here, and if you need to do that, you can again just use your trim, you know. So you get the idea. So I'll go ahead and go trim and do this, and I'll do that, and I'll go ahead and I'll trim this out, and that goes away, and those also have very little projections, but you want to get them. You want it to be accurate. All right, so you want to get all that, and down to here, and it looks like I got to extend this one. Okay, so I've got a EXTEND. I'm going to go ahead and use both these and see if I can't extend those, and I can. And just check out this side because, yep, that's the same thing. So extend, and extend, I'd go EXTEND, and then I'd grab these as my edges, and I'd extend them, and now they're all set. So that is how I make that, and then I just move the whole thing over here, and I could use its midpoint like this, And I can go ahead and I still have this sitting right here, so I can go ahead and touch it here and drag it right down and kind of place it somewhere up in this area here. And that is how you would then do that. So that is how you'd work that, and then when you hatch it, you'd be all set. So that is the basics. I know it's a fairly long thing, a fairly, it's actually going to go faster than some of the other things you've done. But that is how we'd go ahead, and that is how we'd work on the front elevation Southfield. So that's it, and happy drafting, and good luck with that one.